I woke up in the hospital after my wife told me I was replaceable and stormed off. Now she's nothing like before and is completely infatuated with me. I, 30M, have been married to my wife, 29F, for 2 years, and we have known each other for 6. A few weeks ago, we had an argument, and during our disagreement, she told me that I am replaceable. After our argument, she went out with her friends. I have been dealing with some health problems for a while, and the argument stressed me out, leaving me nervous and unwell. I was alone in the house and decided to call the paramedics because I felt that something was really wrong. In short, I suffered a heart attack. In the hospital, they tried to reach my wife, but she didn't respond, likely still upset from our argument. She called later after coming home when she found out that I wasn't there. After learning of my condition, she came to see me and stayed with me the entire time, constantly crying and holding my hand. After being sent home, she did everything so I could recover faster. However, despite her efforts, I couldn't stop thinking about how she had told me that I'm replaceable. I constantly think about it, and I want to confront her about it, but I don't think I'm ready. I'm trying to understand why context matters. In what way or situation is it acceptable to call your partner replaceable? The audacity to even say something like that is beyond me. Edit. I will address some points here. We have no children. I have genetic health problems, and external factors also contributed to my issues. I have a higher salary than her, so I mostly pay the bills or buy things for our home. I mostly cook and clean, she does it too, but mostly me. It's not 50-50, more like 60-40. She isn't actively trying to unalive me, I hope at least. I don't know if she's cheating on me. Let's also address the elephant in the room. We had an argument about our house and some issues with it. After that, we also discussed our priorities, careers, and intimacy. At one point, the discussion was replaced by her venting and saying things not even related to the original discussion. I had no issues with her ranting about things until she told me that I'm replaceable. That was the end of the conversation, as I no longer wanted to talk. She finds my silence terrifying, but she didn't stay in the house for long after the argument. I don't know when she came home. I woke up in the hospital, and she was there. She kept crying and holding my hands. She didn't speak much, she couldn't. On a side note, some people in this comment section have some issues themselves. Some of the comments are just wild and horrifying. Edit. I've decided to separate for a month. We will go to a counselor and speak maybe 1 to 2 times a week. If she cares about me, she will accept it and do everything she can to improve our relationship and marriage. If she starts playing around, going out on dates, or if I suspect her of cheating, I will end it. There won't be any forgiveness or second chances. I will make an update post sometime in the future. Many of you reached out and offered support and advice, so I think the least I can do is provide you with the update. Thank you all very much. Update 1. As promised, here's an update on my situation. I won't go into much detail, just the most important things. Physically, I'm doing great. I've started working out again, although at a slower pace than before, but with time, it will get better. Separation really helped me a lot. Firstly, I might sound selfish, but I only worried about myself, so I did everything for myself. At first, it was a different feeling. I felt alone for the first time in a really long time, and I needed a few days to get used to it. After I got used to it, it was actually quite nice. I got to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I bought myself a lot of things, redecorated a bit, changed some old things, and honestly, I liked it. There was no stress, no arguments, no problems. It was peaceful and quiet. I also got myself a cat, and the two of us get along really well. I spoke to my wife on a weekly basis, and we also went to a counselor, which really changed a lot of things. Whenever we went there, I laid all the cards on the table. I was really honest, maybe too honest, and I said a lot of things that had accumulated over time, every annoyance, issue, pretty much everything I thought could be way better. My wife took the separation really hard. It was really bad. For the first few days, she was fine, or she pretended to be, but as time progressed, it was clear she wasn't doing well. What I did was whenever we went to a counselor, I focused only on trying to figure out my marriage and issues with it. But as soon as I left the counselor, I checked out. Like a switch, I didn't want to bring any of it home and disturb my peace. My wife also started individual therapy for her own mental health and issues that have been present for some time. I asked her if she cheated on me, and honestly, I expected some outburst of rage or yelling, but there wasn't any of it. She was really sweet and told me no, and that she understands why I might think that, and she offered her phone and her social media accounts for me to check. For some reason, I decided to be a jerk, and I told her that maybe she deleted and covered her tracks, and she has no proof of anything. Again, no yelling or anything, just a really sad look in her eyes. I realized that I went too far, and I apologized. Time passed, and I decided to let it go. So I told her that I forgive her and that I will give her another chance. Honestly, I wanted some form of revenge, but while revenge might be sweet, everything after it is bitter. I also told her that I won't forget her words. Anyway, she came back to my house, and everything changed. No longer am I doing most of the stuff, she now works just as hard, maybe even more than me, and she doesn't allow me to do certain things, much to my annoyance. We will continue going to a counselor for a little bit longer, and she is still going to her individual therapy. While I liked being alone, I truly missed her. I missed her hair, her smile, her eyes, and now I find myself looking at her and paying attention to everything she does. I guess separation made us appreciate each other way more than before. Maybe we took each other for granted, and we didn't value each other until we split. I think we fell in love again. I can't describe it, but each hug, each touch feels different, like it radiates with sincerity and love. As for the future, I'm planning a trip in secret as a surprise, so we can go out of town for a few days, just the two of us. Time alone really helped me relax and not worry about unimportant things. I focused on myself and what I want my marriage to be, and my life. So now, I'm going to work towards that. We really learned to communicate much better than before, we became much more open toward each other, more vulnerable. I think it will help us going forward. I guess after all, it turns out that I'm not so easily replaceable.